You're now watching The Wash Daily. Today in news, Washington State is looking at legalizing home cultivation. They've had medicinal cannabis and they have recreational cannabis, but it doesn't allow for medicinal cannabis growers to grow their own medicine, which is pretty sad, and it's actually very important. They're looking to add to their program for adults to be able to grow up to 6 plants to a maximum of 15 plants per household. Landlords can decide whether or not folks can grow on the property. The folks who are not in support of the bill are worried that it'll increase the likelihood of the illicit cannabis market taking off because they're really looking for a taxation of cannabis in Washington State. The argument for that, though, is that we can already grow our own vegetables and we don't see a problem with people getting produce in grocery shops. It's not the first time they've submitted a bill to allow for home growership, but they've done a good job of reducing stigma in the state, and a lot of folks in the state are now more accepting toward cannabis and more pro-legalization and decriminalization versus pro-police state being able to put people in cages for cannabis. The home grow bill will most likely be voted on in January, and there seems to be a lot of support for the initiative. Also in news, the House recently voted for the MORE Act, the Marijuana Opportunity Reinvestment and Expungement Act, but what's also being voted on is the SAFE Act, and that's supposed to be voted on soon. The SAFE Act has to do with banking and protects banks from getting in trouble from working with businesses that are deemed illegal, as federal cannabis laws don't allow for the sale of cannabis in the country. Many people feel that the legalization of cannabis on a federal level is going to happen soon. The SAFE Act protects the banks until that does happen, as cannabis is federally not a legal item to be sold in the states. Cannabis banking has been a big problem for cannabis companies. If companies are considered to be a marijuana-related business, or MRB, banks aren't typically going to work with them. A report came out in MJ Biz Daily. They interviewed a number of entrepreneurs in the cannabis market, asking how cannabis banking has been a problem for them. A lot of them said it's been impossible to get loans, and that's been tricky for growing. Also, it's been risky because they haven't been able to put their cash in a bank, and they're only able to take cash. They aren't able to process credit card payments. Also in news, North Carolina has had their task force endorse the idea of legal cannabis and record expungement. Governor Roy Cooper is looking to make some positive changes. The long history of disproportionately targeting folks for cannabis crimes in that state has led to tremendous racial tension and a significant amount of poverty. War on drugs has made it so folks who have gotten caught up in the system as a result of a so-called cannabis crime now have a hard time making ends meet. It's been perpetrated on such a large number of people, it causes a big problem. The task force says it's time to start doing record expungement, to legalize cannabis, and to open up opportunities to those communities who have been disproportionately affected. Thanks for watching The Wash Daily.